All right. Okay. So today we're gonna talk about Landmark and their decision to basically switch it up a little bit, a lot of it, and decide to go pop. If this is the music industry, Landmark just decided to go pop. That's in a nutshell what is happening. But to break it down, Landmark, which was for a short period of time a hip hop club. No, I'm just playing. I'm just being funny. But no, I mean, I went to a few Landmark parties when it was owned by, and I'm just saying their name just because of the content that we're doing, highly flavored. And so it was a bar and grill, and then it threw parties and things like that. Sort of like, I don't know, it kind of took on what a KG is and a Dream was. It started becoming those type of things, except for it was in what you would normally consider a sports bar and a bowling alley. Now, that right there in itself is a conflict of interest because it's Landmark. For as long as I've known Landmark, it was always a sports bar. Now, granted, they did have every now and then they started having, probably because money was low, they wasn't able to get a whole lot of money into the place. They started doing like certain nights. I think they did. I went to an '80s night and things like that. One of my favorite DJs, rest in peace. He was a DJ out there, and Timmy Two Times. Timmy Two Times was the DJ out there on those type of nights, and he would do like, excuse me, 80s type event, and it was decent. It was a lot of people there. It was a lot of people there. A mixed crowd. I remember seeing like Latino people, definitely white people, black people. It was a mixed crowd, and so to them that was okay. They did that every once in a while, but then they always came back to where it was a sports bar and grill. You know, like the ones you see on TV. If you go on TV and you see like a sports bar and grill, that's what Landmark reminded me of. And then they had the bowling alley and the other things. I think some of the other things kind of faded out, like the theater and stuff like that. So that to me was what Landmark was about. And I'm just going back to kind of give you like my background of what I known this place to be. Now, fast forward to these last few months. I'm not sure how long they were in there. I don't know if they were in there for a year. But business came along, highly flavored, a black-owned business. Okay, and I know when they opened up, it wasn't a whole lot of support. As a matter of fact, I don't think it was a year because I used to go there when they first opened up during the wintertime, and it wasn't a whole lot of support there. They did struggle. They struggled for a long time to get people in the door. So I believe they came to a decision to start having events there. The music that I remember Landmark having was like a pop type feel. I don't know if any of y'all remember KZ93, KZ92.3. But it was that type of feel. You had pop music, popular music. You had hip hop, and you had R&B. You had rock and roll and stuff like that. The music was very, very, very diverse. The main anchor of the music was pop music and rock and roll, and then they every once in a while they switched it up and played like a popular hip hop rap track hit, and then they played like R&B, you know what I'm saying? So they mixed it up and things like that, and then a little bit of trance or whatever you want to call it. So that's what I've always remembered Landmark is. I was really surprised to see that they allowed us to come in and kind of change it around. Now, being in this city my whole life and knowing Landmark and where it's at on Drees Lane, I didn't think that was a good spot, appropriate spot for that type of venue. Peoria just isn't ready for something like that in that type of area. Like, that's a main area. You got Sterling down the way. You got Walmart right in back of it. And Walmart probably wasn't very happy, I'll tell you. And we'll get into that because Walmart got money. Okay? That's their lot. So, and people were parking right in back of Walmart. You know what I'm saying? So that's Walmart's lot. And then you got some pretty major businesses across the street and off to the right. So a bunch of major businesses in that area. And then down the road a little bit, you got Comcast, Xfinity. And then you got the car dealership. So those are the things that you have around it. So it becoming a quote unquote hip hop R&B spot, especially in a conservative town, it wasn't a good fit there. Especially when you start having issues happening. Whether it's I don't know, somebody said it was a shooting out there at one time. I'm not sure if that's true. But fights, just loud music in general. Then what happens is the other businesses around it start feeling affected. And not only that, across the way, you had houses. I think they got a catering spot, a venue for like weddings and things like that, like right down the way from it. And on the corner, you got a real estate and insurance. So there are major businesses in that area. Childers, I don't know if it's Childers. I know it starts with a C. It's not Childers, not the restaurant, but it's a place where you can have like weddings and things like that on the corner. Very nice. I've been in there a few times. I did a few joints in there. I don't know if anybody that I know rents it out anymore, but it's very nice inside. So you have a bunch of nice businesses in that area. So, as I said before, that's almost like a retail type spot where businesses do business. So you can't necessarily stick a hip hop club right there. It doesn't fit. And the reason why is because, like I said, when we come through, it's going to be loud music. It's going to be yelling. People are going to be drinking in the car. It's going to be fights and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? And possibly a shooting. I don't know if it's a shooting. I've heard it was. I can't confirm that. But those are the type of things that it's going to bring. And even though, we're going to wrap this up. This is not going to be long at all. And even though it might not have been from highly flavored, it doesn't matter. They're going to associate all of that together because it's us. You know what I'm saying? It's black folks. They're going to associate all that together. Whether it came from people who came from highly flavored, or whatever, we might know, or we might in our minds be like, oh, that was something that happened in the bowling alley. That's something that happened, they're going to associate. They're going to say in their mind, they're going to say this is what it attracts. They're also going to say if you continue on to have these type of events, or you continue on with this, when it gets hotter, the summertime, it's going to be more of it. And it's going to be worse. Like, for whatever reason, when it gets hot and it gets warmer, it's a lot more violence than it is when it's cooler. So that could be some of the things that they had in their mind. It's like, it's already bringing trouble. Oh boy, now it's going to get hot. It's going to be way more trouble. And a spot like that, insurance is already high. It's already through the roof. And so when you start having those incidences, then their insurance ain't going to do nothing but go up, because you have to be able to insure people getting home. If somebody gets hurt, $1 million policy has to be paid, things like that. So their insurance starts going up. And I'm just giving you some of the back. Okay, we're going to talk more about this and have guests and talk about it. But their insurance starts going up. Who's going to pay for that? I mean, true indeed, we come and we may spend $10, $20 at the door, pack it out, buy a little liquor. But then once you incorporate all the cost that goes into it, the employees, the electricity, the insurance, whether they had a lease on it or whatever, the owners, once everybody gets their hands on that money, then it's not a lot of money. And then the food for the restaurant, because they have to buy a lot of food in order to feed everybody. And yes, they'll make a profit off of that food if it's priced right. But then they got to go out and buy more food. They got to go out and buy more liquor. Everything they have to buy again. So, and I know some of these clubs, well, we ain't gonna get into that, but they have to buy liquor, and they have to buy liquor from. They have to. Landmark, I'm almost certain that they're gonna make them buy liquor from the distributor. Ain't no wiggle room in that. Nothing. They'll probably get kicked out immediately if they buy liquor from anywhere other than the distributor. So they're locked into what all they can do. Right. So those things, they have their price tags to it. They're expensive. So yes, they're bringing in money, but a lot of money is going back out. So, to make a long story short, a business have to think long term. Can we continue to sustain this 5 years? Can we continue to sustain this 10 years? And if stuff just start happening as soon as we open up, we only get a chance to open up really good. Not even for a year and a few months, and we're already having issues. We're having a lot of issues. Then they have to think, is this the direction that we want to go in? If we're going to continue on this path, is this the direction we want to go in? I know if I had a hip-hop club, and as soon as I open up, I start having issues, then that's something that I have to consider. I got to say to myself, is this the direction that I want to go in? We're having issues. And insurance is going up. Cost is going out the door. We got to hire more security. So those are some things as black people that, we got to think about. And I know all of us are not going to think about that. Some of us will, but all of us is not going to think about those type of things when we visit those places and patronize that business. It's just not feasible. Some of us just don't give a fuck. We're going to show up and show out. That's the way we are. And then not only that, you got houses very, very close to where it's at. Take a look at a club like Dream. You don't have houses really close, or KG's. You don't have houses really close in that facility. Like Landmark, you got houses like are really close, nice houses, right across the street. So when people are pulling out of Landmark and they're racing their cars, they scat packs, loud music, The neighbors get upset. We talked about Walmart being in the back when people parking that parking lot and they got bottles and they throwing bottles out. Because I mean, eventually they're gonna do that. I had a video that got a lot of views because how people left the parking lot when they left Vibe. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna throw our bottles out because we don't want to get caught by the cops. So you probably had bottles, loud music, and Walmart being a big conglomerate they are, probably complain. Like, look, y'all gotta do something different. We ain't with all of this. The businesses that do bingo, like these businesses over on the right side, they were doing bingo. So think about it on a night like a big R&B night where they packed the parking lot out. You couldn't park nowhere, and then they trying to have a bingo night or whatever they do over there, a restaurant. Then that's going to cause conflict. It's just too many people, and we got people coming to the club and they drunk. They don't give a fuck about where they park and who they talk to and how they talk to that person or whatever, you know. So those are some things that I'm sure that they, as a business, took in consideration. It was like, we can't continue on like this. If we do continue on like this, then we're gonna lose money. Yes, we are bringing in a little bit more money than we was before, but if we continue on like this, we're gonna lose money. Because, like I said, businesses think about the future, which all businesses should think about the future. What are the next 5, 10 years going to look like on this path? And if I don't like the way this look, then I'm going to have to change it up quick. So, and I'm going to wrap this up because I got to get out of here. To make a long story short, I don't like how they did what they did. Like, you know what I'm saying? But, I mean, honestly, I think I believe that they gave them a little bit of time to figure some stuff out. But it might not have been fast enough. They were trying to close another deal and get who they wanted to be in there. They got a vision for how they want their place to look on the weekend. If they don't want the pajama jammy jam there, and whose idea was that? I know it was a good idea. It's always a good idea to have. But when have you ever had a pajama jammy jam in a like Landmark? I mean, you have like sleepovers and stuff like that, but that wasn't what that was about. That was like sexy dress wear. And just think if somebody got hurt, somebody got AR'd or whatever, then you're going to have your insurance going to be through the roof. Unless you have a bad name or some shit like that. All I'm saying is, pajama jams are always a good idea, but it's not a good idea to put them and stick them in a place like that. You know, y'all would have been better off having a hard heel shoes night or dress night. You know what I'm saying? Where people dress up nice and things like that. That would have been a better fit in a place like that. You know, you have owners looking at it like, we don't want this thing to be ghetto, trashy, trashed out type shit. We don't want that. That's not the look that we're going for. So parties like that might have been what pushed them over the top and said, we not for this no more. R&B nights might have been cool to them. Okay, it's R&B nights. We got music, we got R&B music. Okay, that's cool. Pajama jammy jam? Nah, we don't need, because you have people who bring their kids in there. And imagine you bring your kids to go bowl, and then right in the next room, you got somebody with their ass hanging out. Drunk. Like, think about that. Think of how a white parent would go to, and they're gonna write letters. They're gonna call people. They're gonna write letters. Think of how if a white person went through that experience with their kids. Think of how their reaction is gonna be. You know. So, and they got influence and power and money. So when they're gonna make them phone calls and they're gonna talk to who they're gonna talk to, they're gonna get shit shut down. It's like the time Mariah Carey was on Wildin' Out, and you know she was acting, but she came out and the first thing she said, "I'll shut all this shit down." Like, that's how they feel. If they don't like something They go somewhere and they don't like something, they're going to do their best to shut it down. And people are going to listen. Because they have power and influence that we as black people a lot of times do not